Welcome to the Health by Haven podcast. I'm your host, Haven Quinlan. If you're a multi-passionate wellness enthusiast, then you're in the right place. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about the wellness world, and I want to share that with you. Each episode will dive into various aspects of health and wellness through inspiring and informative guest interviews with some solo episodes thrown in. Tune in for all things health, and let's have some fun, shall we? Today on the Health by Haven podcast, I chat with my good friend, Ben Culbreth. Ben is an entrepreneur, he is a soon-to-be dad, and he is a runner, and he just ran his very first half marathon. So we spent a lot of this conversation chatting all about running and about how the training and the race went for his very first half marathon. So if you're a runner, if you're thinking about getting into running, if you're considering running your first half, if you've ever dealt with injury and you are wanting to work on your comeback from that or feel inspired, this is going to be a great listen for you. Okay, Ben, I'm so thrilled to chat with you today on the Health by Haven podcast. We are going to dive into all things running. You just ran your first half marathon, so I'm definitely excited to chat about that. But I feel like we should back up a little bit because I actually don't know how you first started running, how you got interested in the sport.
Yeah, I used to run like kind of in high school, but I was never like on a cross country team or anything like that. And just kind of I used to just like run. My parents had like 11 acres of woods. So I would just kind of like run in the woods. I didn't know I was like trail running. So I was kind of trail running.
Yeah.
And I lived on this like country road. So I'd kind of run down there. I played baseball a little bit in high school. So it was kind of like conditioning for that.
Mm.
I also think I found it therapeutic without knowing that I found it therapeutic at that time. It's
Yeah.
like at like 16 years old or whatever. But I really kind of started getting into running more seriously like my last year of college. And then when I moved to Columbia, so I started running more in college just as like kind of like a fitness, like, wanted to lose some weight, wanted to just like feel better. Didn't really know I didn't know how to run. I don't think I learned how to run for a long time, but that kind of got me into it. But I still had like never done a race or anything. And then when I moved to Columbia, the first place I worked, I met some folks that were pretty big runners, and there was this thing at the time. This isn't I don't they didn't do it last year. I don't think it exists anymore. It was called Palmetto 200. It's a race team relay from Columbia to Charleston, South Carolina. So I ended up on a team with that, and then I was like, well, I kind of have to like actually be deep. Like these people are relying on me, like because you hand off, at different legs along the race. I'm like, okay, well, and they would ask for a pace, for
Yeah.
timing and everything. So that's when I started actually like training to run.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of how I got into it. And then I would say after that, I was really into the sport. I kind of found community in that. I joined we don't really join it, but I became a part of F3, and then there's FIA. It's like a F3's for men, like group workouts, free group workouts, and then FIA is like the for women, like the exact same thing. But kind of found a community in that, and started going to run groups and stuff like that, and that's how I got more serious, I guess, I really learned to love and enjoy running from that.
Okay, I love that it started out as like a solo sport for you and like solo kind of therapy without even realizing, and then became this like team aspect, even unofficially, like not a cross country team, but the group runs and the group relay
Mhm.
races and things like that, and finding like joy in running and community in a totally different way. That's very fun.
Yeah, it's weird. And I remember like the first few well, actually, this is really funny. So we just moved, and like the very first time I ever ran with other people was on a road like very close where we live. Like I
Oh,
drive up
really?
every day, and I got absolutely drug around. They ran at like a 9 minute pace. I had never ran anything like less than a 10. Just like I remember just going home and being like, I feel like I died. We ran like 6 miles. I don't know if
Yeah.
I ran that far until I ran with these two guys. And I just went home and I was like, I feel like I died. But then I remember feeling like I know I can do this because I was part of the training for the team relay. And I was like, okay, so I went out there and I didn't just like collapse on the ground. Like these guys, they had to come back for me a couple times. They would double back. They were so much faster than me. And
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I got through it and I was like, well, it was physically painful. It was like painful for my ego.
Yeah.
But like, just I don't know. It's kind of funny to live here now and like be on that road and be like, wow, that's kind of sort of where it all started, like the first like real, like pretty big run, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and you can look back at how far you've come now with running. That's so
Yeah.
fun.
And I do love the community part of it. Like running is like it can be either one. Like I enjoy both aspects of it, but I do love the community part of it. I think it has made me a better runner for sure.
Well, that's what I was about to say too. I think that it's like empowering to run with other people. Like I love running
Hmm.
with people who are faster than me. Yeah, it's like
Hmm.
annoying when you're like getting dropped and you're like, oh, like I
Yeah.
wish I could keep up or whatever. But it definitely is inspiring and it pushes you. Like sometimes, I don't know about you, but like at group runs, you'll look down at your watch and be like, oh my gosh, wait, how am I holding this pace and like
Yeah.
talking?
Yeah.
I didn't even think this pace was possible. So
Yeah.
yeah, super fun.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Okay, so what was the very first race you ran? Was it the relay?
It was. Yeah. I'd never done like a 5K or anything. Did the
Oh wow.
relay first. I'm trying to remember. My first leg of that race was like in the dead heat of the day. And that race was around this time of year. So it was like pretty warm. I mean, it's in
Yeah.
South Carolina, like it's going to be pretty warm this time of year most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first thing. Then there was like a middle of the night run, which was kind of weird. But it's a lot of like there's good energy around those kind of events because there's always people at the checkpoints. Like, I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. And it's not, I don't know, I feel like when you run a race by yourself, like a half or whatever, maybe you're kind of locked in. But when you're out there with those things, people will talk to each other more. So like you would talk to other
Mm.
runners that you're on that leg with, and you'd be like, "This
Hmm.
hill sucks," or you
Yeah.
know, "I can't breathe," or you just kind of like commiserate in it a little bit more,
Yeah.
as opposed to like a normal kind of road race, I guess you could say, that you're just out there kind of doing your thing.
Okay. That honestly sounds so fun. And I never really was interested in the relays before because my school of thought was always like, well, if I want to run with somebody, I want to run like with them, not like doing a
Yeah,
leg without them. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm sure the camaraderie, like, were you guys in a van when you weren't running, trading off? What
yes,
was, yeah, I'm sure that
yeah.
that team atmosphere was really fun.
It's fun. I think it was a lot more fun when because I was like 23. So
Yeah.
like it was much more of like this like locker room kind of vibe. Now I'm like
Yeah.
accustomed. I don't know. I feel like now I'd be like, oh, I want to have my own space, and like I don't know. It's just like a different time in life.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of fun to be in the van together. I mean, you kind of sleep, but yeah, it's cool to like because I mean, you can obviously go so much farther ahead of them. So like you'll kind of check in on the runner, especially if they're in a long route. Like, do they need something? So that's fun. But then you also just see other people out there. So that's pretty cool too that are on other teams. So I really love them. I think they're a lot of fun.
I love that. Okay, so then what was your next race or like what was your first solo race after that relay? Do you remember?
I did a 5K. I think my first 5K was here in Columbia after that. And I won my age group. And I went on a stretch of like
Nice.
winning my age group for a while, which is not as impressive as it sounds because I was in like the 20 to 24, and there just aren't that many 24
No,
year
you
old
have to
men.
own that, Ben, because that's like
I do
that's a
need to own
competitive age. People are fast in
it.
that age.
So I won a few of my age groups, which was pretty sweet. So yeah, I kind of got in the 5K circuit a little bit, not like elite level speed, but kind of getting my times down. I did a couple more relays. I did the Ville to Ville, which was Asheville to Greenville.
Yeah.
Um, and then this race doesn't exist anymore. I guess all these are like going away. There was like a Ragnar trail relay that I did. That was probably one
Oh,
of the more fun ones because you sleep in a tent instead of the van, which is
yeah.
honestly really nice because you can actually stretch and like and
Yeah.
move as opposed to just like sitting in a van seat. But yeah, I kind of went on the 5K circuit after that for a little bit. And then I think in 29, I'd done a couple of 10Ks maybe. And then in 2019, I did like the Get to the Green, which is the 10K for the St. Pat's Festival here
Hmm.
in Columbia. Had a great race. I like PR'd the 10K and the 5K in the same race.
Nice.
That was another one where I was like, I feel like I'm dying. But that was kind of the point where I was like, oh, I'm good at this. Like, I'm gonna like take this to the next level. I'm gonna run a half the end of the year, a full the next year. And then I went and did the Ville to Ville relay after that, and the wheels just like fell off after that. I had like injury after injury. I had tendonitis in my left leg. I would
Oh,
do something. It was just like one side would get hurt and then the other.
yeah.
No, I didn't run like from 2019. I really didn't run from like 2019 until 2023, probably. I took like a solid 4 years off where I like couldn't stay healthy enough. Plus, like COVID happened the next year, and it's just like honestly,
Yeah.
that's probably when a lot of people got into running. But I just kind of like I don't know, the wheels fell, and I was like, I thought I was done as a runner. Basically, it was actually really sad. But I was like, I don't think I can stay healthy enough to like run consistently and like hit these longer distance races, basically.
Oh, that is so frustrating. Injury is like, especially when you're getting into a groove and you're like, yes, like I'm starting to get faster. I'm starting to feel more comfortable or more inspired to do other distances. That's super, super frustrating.
Yeah.
I feel like the more and more I talk to people about running, though, the more you hear about people's like stories of
Mhm.
having seasons of injuries or setbacks. And so I'm curious, like, how did you rehab those injuries? And then what was the kind of comeback into running like?
Oh man. Well, I I rehabbed several different ways that didn't work very well. So I went to like some PT for a while. I would go see doctors that were like, you were probably going to need surgery on this thing or
Oh
that
gosh.
thing. There were a lot of different injuries. Like the tendonitis thing was a big one for a while. I think that was like a combination of like bad form, previous injuries, and the wrong shoe combo kind of going on.
Mm,
But I went to some PT, which kind of helped, just like traditional, like your doctor refers you to a PT, you go and do that kind of thing. And I think some of them are really good, but I just never like found a good long-term solution. Um, but I kind of in 2021, I started doing a lot of strength training
hmm.
um, through like the Peloton app. I mean, everybody kind of like did the whole Peloton thing there for a
Yeah.
while, right when COVID hit. But I really got into their strength program. I was like, I'm just like doing this thing. I really enjoy it. I enjoy lifting. Um, and then I think it was in 2023, I ran my first race in like 3 or 4 years at that point, I guess. So ran a 5K like late that year. Wasn't really trained for it. Like I'd ran a little bit. Went out, ran it like 30 or 33 minutes or something, like nothing like no records were shattered or anything. But went out and just kind of did it. And that kind of like lit the I just like love the race atmosphere
Hmm.
and being out there. And I was like, oh man, like this is a lot of fun. Like I miss this a lot. So at that point, I kind of like started trying to stage a comeback a little bit and started running more. Ran the Spurs Up sprint the next year in April. So that was a good race because I was able to run that like sub 30, felt good, and then was pretty much injury free. And then I ran, there's a July 4th 4 miler here.
Hmm.
um, Horrible course. It literally first half miles all uphill.
Oh gosh.
And I came out of that and like my left toe was like really bothering me. And I thought it was just like an overuse injury. I kind of ignored it. We went to Chattanooga for a wedding. I ran there because it's a super cool town to run in. And it just like got worse and ended up like, this is a long story. I'm trying to make short, but basically I had this doctor tell me that she was like, you have arthritis in your toe. I'm like, I'm 30
Okay.
years old. Like, how do I, kind of
Yeah.
makes sense, but I don't really understand. And basically ended up kind of taking it easy, got these like inserts that kind of helped. But what really solved a lot of my problems is that last year I started going to this sports therapist in Columbia. Um, and they basically were like, it could be arthritis. We don't really think so. You have a super weak left hip. Like they did some diagnostic stuff on me and they were like, your left hip is just like needs strengthening terribly. And they're like, all any kind of issues you're going to have are relating to that because your
Huh.
energy is just like being redistributed because that part of your body is not doing the work that it's supposed to be doing while you're
Okay.
running. And they're like, so it's gets sent back down, like to your knee, down into your toes. So I rehabbed with them a lot and learned a ton about just like good solid mobility work, just like slow like band work,
Hmm.
like the hip cars, like all this stuff that's like not really fun at
Yeah.
all. And that you just kind of hate doing, but I learned to enjoy doing it because they kind of taught me how to do it well. And just started making that part of like a pretty regular part of my routine, along with like the strength training. I love Peloton because they have like strength for runners, so I don't really have to think about it. I can just like dial it up and they're,
Hmm.
it hits all the stuff or most of the, each workout's kind of a little bit different, but they hit the major things you need to hit. So at that point, that was like in the fall of last year. And then I decided probably in like October, I like paid, I signed up for the Governor's Cup, which was last weekend. And was like, all right, I'm going to commit to this thing.
Hmm.
And that was kind of like the first, I hadn't raced um, since that July 4th 4 miler. So like last weekend was my first race, almost a year, 10 months or
Hmm.
whatever. So that was kind of my like official like dive back into it. Like I'm going to hardcore commit to kind of running again.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. I want to chat all about the race. And I'm glad that all that PT and mobility work and everything helped because you're like, you're right. It's like the worst, but it
Yeah.
also like keeps us healthy and gets us back out on the road. So, okay, talk to us about the Governor's Cup. I want to hear all about it. How are you feeling during training? What would like a typical week of training look like?
Yeah, so I have a Garmin watch, so I just picked one of their plans, and Garmin had no faith in me at all because they were like, when you go in and pick it, they're like, do you, like, I picked half marathon. They're like, are you sure? Like, you probably should do a
Ouch.
5K or a 10K first. And I was like, I know what I'm doing. Like, let me do this. So I did like I guess 16-week plan, which is probably a little bit longer than most people do for a half. But I was like certain I would get hurt at some point based
Yeah.
on like track records. So I was like, I need to build in some buffer here. So it's basically like 3 workouts a week. It started super slow build, like 30 minutes, 3 days a week, basically. But then probably after the first month, it really kind of turned into like the full plan. So it was like stride repeats early in the week. So like a speed
Mm-hmm.
workout, then
Mm-hmm.
like a progression run with kind of easy pace and hard last mile, and then a long run. So that's all it was. It was like kind of the same thing every single week, but I loved it. I like got in a routine with it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we were moving, also expecting a baby. So like I like just it was like my constant friend. I felt like where I was like, I just know this training is going to be here, and I'm just going to like I know it's just going to tell me what to do, and it's going to be great. I don't have to I don't have to like think about it that much.
Yeah.
So I loved the training. Honestly, I felt good. It was kind of like a roller coaster. Like most of the time, I felt really good. I would say the last two long runs before the race, which was I'm trying to think of what the distance was, or they were all time based. I think they were both 2 hour runs.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I felt really good, but I got super dehydrated down the stretch, which it was like 80 degrees
Oh,
or more in like February, which is
yeah.
not, I mean, that happens here, but it's like pretty brutal. Uh,
Yeah.
so I felt pretty rough. And then I think it was the last 2 hour long run, like at mile 8, my legs were just like heavy and dead. And I started getting like just all the self-negative talk in my head. It was like, if
Yeah.
you're crashing at mile 8 today, like on an easy run, like you can't, you're not going to make it through the training run. Um, but I finished the run out, and I was like, the main thing is I got through it. Like that's how I
Yeah.
always view the long runs. Is it was like, don't worry about the pace, like
Mm-hmm.
get the mileage in, kind of thing. Um, and I knew I was like, odds are it's going to cool off. Like it's not going to be 80 degrees. Hopefully it can be, but hopefully it
Yeah.
will not be 80 degrees in mid-September or mid-April when I go to do this race. So those I felt pretty low. The speed work I loved, and I like thrived on it. And the last speed, I actually had to do a stride repeat the week of the race, which like surprised me.
Oh,
I thought it
yeah.
would like really taper off. Um, but that last speed work, I felt really good. I was like, okay, I think I'm in a good place. And I kind of had a plan. I had a pacing plan going into it of like what I wanted to do, but I didn't know. I was like, I just don't know if it's going to work until I like get into it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt pretty good leading up to it. I was actually the last run of like the taper week, which was just like a 30-minute easy pace. I was like really sad because it was like coming to an end. It's like
Yeah.
I've done this so long, I don't really know what to do with myself now.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, I don't have a run coming up anymore. Like the next one is the race. So that was kind of a weird feeling where I was like, oh, because it's an odd thing. Like you put so much time into something for, and for it to end, in 2 hours ish, basically. Like it's a months and weeks of commitment for such a short amount of time. It's like a strange feeling to come to the end of it, kind of thing.
Yeah, and what you're describing, if people are listening and they haven't run distance, they're probably like, "What do you mean?" But I feel like you're like
Yeah.
speaking to the souls of runners right
Yeah.
now who like, yeah, it's such a weird feeling, but it's like this like long-term goal you've had for so long and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's over. It's like you almost get like the post-race blues a little
Yeah.
bit.
It's almost like not depression, but it's like you feel down, sort of.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I really enjoyed the training. Like, I think with the season of life we're in, like I said, it was something that I could like fall into and just like lose myself in a little bit as opposed to like it being this. I mean, it was regimented, but it wasn't, I never saw it as like, oh, I don't want to do this. Like, I mean, there were days I didn't feel like running and I had to go do it, or I felt tired, but I was never like, oh, I hate doing this. Like, I genuinely enjoyed the process of it. And I think that's what I like about racing is like, I honestly enjoy the build up to it. Uh,
Hmm.
and then you do the race and you're like, okay, well, it's over. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, once I got to race day, I felt really good. I mean, I feel like I fueled well leading up to it. I was like nervous about that because that's probably one of the things I know least about. I'm trying to learn more about is like the fueling part of it.
Hmm.
But I had a good grasp on like what I needed in terms of like in race fueling. Um, so I felt good. And then I got there that morning and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go use the bathroom, like, get myself in a mindset. Well, of course, like, how the races are. There's
Yeah.
like 20 portable toilets. They're like 12 deep. And then
Yeah.
I'm immediately stressed because I'm like, I'm
Yep.
never gonna make it. Like
Yeah.
I need to warm up, I don't know. So I was kind of stressed at the beginning, but then I don't know, the race kind of started and I didn't realize it. Like it was like everybody lined up and then the gun just went off. And I was like, oh, so it kind of like took away the opportunity for me to like overthink it, I think.
Yeah.
I will get pretty bad at pre-race jitters, like if I linger too long or if I'm there too early.
Yeah, yeah, same. And I know that feeling. It's like, why can't they just have one portable toilet for everybody? Like, I
Right.
cannot
Yeah.
stand waiting in this line.
Right. Yeah. Like let's get 1-to-1 out here or
Yeah.
something.
No kidding. Up my race fee. I'll pay for it.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so I'm glad you didn't have too bad of start line jitters. Then I want to kind of walk through the course. Like, we don't have to go mile by mile, but like as much as you remember, like kind of start, middle, and end, like how you were feeling, what were you using for fuel, all that.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes were the longest, I think, which is kind of
Mm,
weird. But it's just like you're packed in. I mean, I
yeah.
was not in the I didn't s- I started like mid, not the middle of the pack, but like mid upper. But I was like, I don't like being at the front. I'd never go to the front. Also, I'm just not that fast. Like this was a pretty competitive race. Like, I mean, they were like cash prizes and stuff, which
Oh
to
wow,
me,
I didn't realize.
yeah. I mean, like the overall winners were like an hour, a little over an hour. So, I mean,
Oh my gosh.
there were some really fast people. Well, yeah. So
Yeah.
I kind of lingered. But yeah, the first 15 were long and I didn't preview the course and I normally like to do that. So that gave me
Mm-hmm.
some anxiety, but actually in hindsight, I'm like super glad I didn't preview it because I think it would have totally messed up my plan. But yeah, I kind of went into that blind, but I kind of had my goal was like the first, I would say 5 to 6 miles, first 10K ish. I was like, I want to pace between a 9 and a 9.5 minute mile. Like I kind of like to have the slow build, uh,
Mm-hmm.
try to shoot for kind of negative splits, the whole race and felt super comfortable with that. Like, I knew I had run the 5K years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I won my age group in that. I actually am pretty proud of
Nice.
that one. Not the same pacing, as this was, but, really good. Like, I mean, I was nervous the first couple of miles. Um, I don't wear headphones during a race, so just kind of you just hear weird conversations all around you, which
Yeah.
I enjoy. Like
Uh-huh.
where like what people talk about while they're out there running. I heard some USC kids talk about how they got in at like 2:30 that morning,
Oh my
and I
gosh.
felt really kind of angry and like upset because I was like,
Yeah. I
I
could
like went to
never.
bed early. And I'm like, you guys are probably gonna beat me by the time this is over. So probably some, I don't know, just some resentment of maybe my age there a little bit. But yeah, I felt really good. And then I kind of had this point where, like at the fourth mile, I like really wanted to pick up the pace, but I was like, no, you just need to hold back. And I had been like around a 9 or 9:15 or something like that. Um, but then I was running, like I had this weird moment where I was running next to these two ladies and like I wasn't talking to them or anything. They were running together. and I felt good. My breathing was good. And then they were like talking about how they ran like a 20-minute 5K recently. And I was like, wow, these people are really fast. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like hearing them talk about it, like and I was like, I'm staying with them. And they were obviously out there just having a good time, and I'm out there
Mhm.
like laser focused, like, so I don't know, hearing them say that like pushed me. I was like, you've got more in the tank, it's time to like
Yeah.
start building up to it. Um, so I guess I fueled every 30 minutes, which is probably around the 3-ish mile mark for me, the first one. I like the honey stingers.
Hmm.
So I had one of those, but then I had a goo. I love the espresso. This was like started at
Mm-hmm.
7:30 and I didn't have any coffee. So I was like, I need the espresso,
Yeah.
little caffeine kick
Yeah.
way through. But yeah, around mile 5, I was like, all right, it's time to drop the pace. So I went down to like an 840
Hmm.
mile from there and I held that. I think my plan was basically like from mile 5 to 10 to be somewhere between like 8:45 to 8:30 pace.
Hmm.
So I was able to do that. The bat like miles 6 to 9 were brutal. I almost hit like negative splits all the way, but there was like a string of like 4 hills back to back to back, which I mean, nobody that's not from Columbia will know this. You will know this. Like those miles were through like Shandon and Heathwood, and they're all these like beautiful homes.
Mm,
They're all perched
yeah.
on these like unbelievable hills where some of them it's like you literally feel like you're walking, like you're going, like because it's so steep.
Yeah.
So those are pretty brutal sections, but I was able to hold pace and like at that point, I would say about like mile 9, I was feeling. Well, mile 8, I caught up with a 2-hour pacer and I passed them. So at that point, because my goal was sub 2, so I was like, that took a lot
Hmm.
of pressure off
Yeah.
going past that pacer because I was like, okay, now like it's kind of like, the money's made at this point, like
Yeah.
everything else is just kind of on top of it. Um, but yeah, I felt super good through that stretch. And then I hit mile 10. And at that point, I was like, it's just a 5K to go. And I think at that point I had dropped to like an 8:30 pace or a little bit slower. But yeah, probably one of the best moments was like, I think it was either mile 10 or mile 11. I should have looked at my phone before. But my watch hit me and it was like 8:24 a mile. And I'd been telling myself the whole time, I'm like, the plan's working, like your pacing is working, like stay in it, stay in it. 'Cause
Hmm.
I just talk to myself the whole time because I don't, or I'll like listen to music in my own head kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I talk to myself a lot. So I was like, just hang in there, like it's working, like stay in it. And then once that, I think it was mile 11 because I had just come through and it was like 8:24. I was like, let myself say like the plan worked. So at that point, I was like, now we just get to like cruise into the finish kind of thing. So that was a really cool moment to kind of be in that place where it was like we all kind of came together at that point. And I was like, all right, now I get to just kind of like let it loose. Weather was perfect. It was like 50 degrees. It might have been like 46 at the start. So it was
Oh,
like just a dream
nice.
of weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a hard time with this. Like I have to remind myself to enjoy it kind of thing.
Hmm.
Because you get so focused on time and you get so focused on like performance and I don't know, I think the Strava effect a little bit because you see other people doing these
Yeah.
like super good times. I'm like, I want to have a super good time. Well, I want to have a good time. I also want to record a good time. But I think I would remind myself throughout that. I was like, this is a lot of fun. And it was. And I tried to just like, I have to like let myself shake every once in a while to just
Yeah.
get the nerves out and like get the shoulders to release, which my like traps and everything were super sore the next day. Where you just like
Yeah.
a combination of nerves and trying to breathe. But yeah, I kind of at that point, towards the end of the race, I was like, all right, we're in it kind of thing. So that was a lot of fun. And then it was a total downhill finish, which was, I love to just like let it rip when it's like that. If you feel
Yeah.
good, you're like, just like let it go from here. So got down and at that point, it was like an hour 56, I think is what I came in at. So that was a
Nice.
good feeling because I really didn't know where I was going to finish. Because when I hit the 6 mile mark, they had a timer up and I was at 55 minutes. So I
Hmm.
was a little behind. I mean, I wasn't behind because it was like part of the plan, but I knew I was off my like goal pace, but I was like, I'm going to make it up on the back half. So
Hmm.
it was fun. I loved it. It's like weird. It's hard to explain to people a little bit. It's like a weird, I don't know. It's like just being able to plan and like do all these little things, and then it like you just go out there and do it. But I did tell somebody this. Like you just don't know what's going to happen until you're out there.
Yeah.
Um, and you could collapse in the third mile, you know, like from injury or just like it just like falls apart early, or you could like it could go perfectly. So, and I'm thankful it pretty much went perfectly according to the plan. So that was good. And it was also like a big accomplishment to be there, just be at the start line. I had to remind myself that a lot of like, this is a ton of work. Like it took a long time to get here. Like a lot of things could have
Mm-hmm.
gone wrong. They didn't, you know,
Mm-hmm.
stuck to the plan. So that was a very, very cool moment, like just being at the start line and then coming across at the end, you know, but you don't you know, you come across the finish and it's like, oh wow, it's over. And it doesn't really sink in until a little bit later kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like getting to the start line healthy, especially after having so many injuries, like that is a celebration in and of itself. And then
Yeah.
then it's just the victory lap for the race. So
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And it is, I mean, you know, just being, I don't know, just being able to go out there and run like pain free and to just
Hmm.
like sit in it and kind of experience it. Um, And just, you know, just to be out there, like at the race, in the race environment was a lot of fun. It's a good, like I said earlier, it's like a really good energy. There's people everywhere. So just like those moments are a lot of fun to like experience that.
Yeah, for sure. I love cheering at a race as well. And I don't do it as much as I'd like to because I just love running in the
You want to
races.
be in
But yeah,
it.
the energy, even when you're cheering at a race day, is just unmatched. So
Yeah.
fun. I am super impressed by your negative splits. I definitely do not do that. I like go
You
out
come
guns
out.
blazing at a
You come
start
out. I
line.
wish I could do that, honestly. Like that is something I was like tracking. It's interesting that we're recording this today and the Boston Marathon's going on. So I was like looking at some people's pacing and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
how do you maintain that from the gun basically until the finish? And that's something that I want to work on, I think, is like being able to kind of get to that point where it's like, oh, you can come out of the gate and
Hmm.
kind of hold that pacing. I think it's really impressive. I'm not built like that currently.
Yeah, well, me either. When I say I'm coming out guns blazing, I then usually have positive splits because I blow up a little bit. But yeah, I think that like your pacing strategy sounded like it worked out perfectly. And I'm also so impressed that you ran a sub 2 hour half for your first half marathon ever because my first half was 2 hours and 26 minutes, I think. And yeah, it was very, very, very positive splits, like crash
Yeah,
and
you're
burn
not too hot.
positive splits. And so that's super impressitive too that you
Oh, thank you.
ran sub two for your first half. Yeah.
Yeah, I was I think it was I think if I hadn't ran before and like in 2019, I think I was in like in this spring, like around this time, I was in like good half marathon shape. Like I think I
Hmm.
could have went out and ran a really good time. I don't know what it would have been, but I think it didn't like intimidate me as much knowing like
Hmm.
kind of because I was like, okay, I've got the even though like age and time like take their toll, I was like, okay, I've got the like bones for this a little bit. Like I know I've been able to run at a
Hmm.
decent pace before. But yeah, I'm kind of curious. Like now I've got the like gears turning in my head of like, what is the next, like what would be the pacing strategy for the next one? But,
Hmm.
um, you know, I did think like, as I was in it, I was like, I had a lot of, I felt strong like the first 5 miles and I'm like, am I pacing too
Hmm.
slow? But it was so hilly in the back half. I think if I had come out too hot, I would have probably blown up down the stretch.
Yeah.
It was really, I mean, anywhere, as you know, you lived here, like anywhere in downtown Columbia is like shockingly hilly for people who are not experienced in
Yeah.
running down here. So you kind of have to have some in the tank because you
Uh-huh.
are going to battle those things, you know,
Uh-huh.
along the way.
Yeah. Okay, so how'd you celebrate after the race?
Oh man, went and had a good breakfast at Cafe Strudel, local
Oh,
breakfast spot here.
yum.
So went and had some good breakfast, and then I knew like based on like how my body reacts and like my injury past, I was like I cannot go home and sit down. So I came home and did like some yoga to like try to get some flexibility out, which helped
Yeah.
a lot. And then just kind of hung out, and then we went to a wedding later that day. So
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh.
my shakeout was the dance floor a little bit. So.
Amazing.
It was a long time in the car after a half marathon, so I was tight the next day. I
Yeah.
did a lot of recovery, and then actually I almost took a full week off. I didn't run again until the following Friday, which by Tuesday after the race, I was like ready to run again. But I was like, I think my body just like needs a little bit of a reset period. Like, because I felt fine going in the race, but like I could feel the like toll of the training, the move,
Hmm.
just like life in general. And I was like, my body, I think, is like getting pretty tired. So it needs a little bit of a break from this like regimented work kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, also I'm impressed with that discipline because yeah, when your brain's like, oh, like I'm so energized, like that race is awesome. I want to like get
Yeah.
out again, but a lot of times probably not ready
Yeah.
physically to get out again on the road. So
Just let it rest. Yeah. And I've kind of gotten in a rhythm of like the mobility and the stretching. So that's kind of nice because it like fills
mhm.
the time as opposed to just like, oh, let's go run. It's like, oh, well, I'll foam roll or
Yeah.
use or like I loved your post, kind of using the massage gun and things like that. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna focus on that, let my body like recuperate a little bit, and then we'll figure out what's next, I guess. I am kind of directionless. I'm like, what do I do? I'm like normally I would be out running like a speed workout today, but I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I do feel a
Yeah.
little bit directionless.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my next question. I guess you haven't decided yet, but have you thought at all like what the next thing's going to be? I know you said you've trail run in the past, so is it going to be on the trails, on the road? Are you going to try and tackle the half again? What you thinking?
I don't know. Yeah, I am. I do love trail running. I probably will. There's a trail half at the end of the year that I'm interested in doing, like right before
Cool.
Thanksgiving, just to kind of like it seems like a pretty casual race. So just to kind of do that on some local trails here. There is another half, kind of in the downtown area. I'm thinking about doing the famously hot pink.
Mm,
They're kind of like back to back. So I'm like about a month apart. So I'm like, well, if I'm in good condition, I can like knock both of those out. So I
yeah.
don't know. I am tempted by the full marathon. Like I would like to do it just to see if I enjoy it. Like I really love the half distance. Like it's almost like perfect. It's like the
Hmm.
training's not super intense. It's like a good long distance to go for. With a baby on the way, I don't know if like full marathon
Yeah.
training is like super feasible this year. So it may be, a next year, late next year kind of thing when we kind of
Yeah.
see what life is like with a child. But
Yeah. And the sleep
so we'll see.
schedule starts to
Yeah,
regulate again.
I am checking out the jogging strollers to kind of see what the vibe is
Yes.
there. So
Okay. I was going to ask, are you going to be a
yeah.
dad with a jogging stroller?
I went to a run group on Saturday and they had one. So I was asking them all the questions. So I'm like, I've gotta get one. And their daughter was just like asleep. Like she went to sleep on the run. I'm like, well, this is a
Wow.
dream. Like, I just get to
That's
go out.
impressive.
She take her, we'll have a son. I'm like, he'll take a little nap, in an
Yeah.
ideal world. And I'll go
Yeah.
run. So I don't know if
Yeah.
it works quite that well all the time, but
They must have the Cadillac of jogging strollers because I feel like it would be so bumpy.
they do. They have the tool, which is like that's like the nicest one out there. So
All
that's the one
right.
I want too. So
All right. So
it is
anyone
the Cadillac.
listening, if you want to Venmo Ben
Yeah, go check out our
contribute
registry.
to his jogging stroller. That's awesome.
But yeah, I'm excited. I am excited to run with a child. Like I've heard people, a lot of people have told me like that as like they're like, don't stop running because you have a baby. Like it's actually a lot of fun to run once they're old enough, to get out there with them and like it gets them out. And it's like just a different way to like spend time, I think, which I think is gonna be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And like having active outdoor activities
Yeah.
together sounds great. Okay. We've chatted so much about running, and I could chat all day long about this,
Oh yeah.
but I'm going to start bringing us into some final questions. And you've answered a few of mine already about some of the cooler races that you've run. But what's some of the running gear, maybe shoes or gear otherwise, that you've been liking to use lately on your
Oh
runs?
man. So I've like fully converted to Adidas shoes.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
Mostly, well, I like them. I really like them a lot. But if you're ever in Greenville, South Carolina, there's the Adidas employee store. Everything's half off there, and it's like really nice, like latest stuff coming out. So I got two. You can get running shoes are what about $140. Like you'll pay
Yeah.
70 or 80, depending on the
Wow.
shoes you get. So they're really cheap. So I bought some pairs there. I was like, I'm going to try these things out because they're so like the price is so good, and I've actually really enjoyed them. So I ran the marathon in the Adidas Boston 12s, which is a little bit of a lighter shoe,
Hmm.
and I loved it. I did all my speed work in it. So I love their shoes so far. But I used to be a New Balance guy.
Yeah.
but I've kind of moved into the Adidas space. And I wear Brooks trail shoes. They're Calderas, or the trail shoes I wear.
Uh-huh. Okay, cool. When you're doing speed work, are you going on the track or are you running like tempo on the roads?
I do love the track. I thought I
Yeah.
would hate it. I really just started doing track work pretty seriously for this half marathon. I love doing it. It's also
Uh-huh.
like, wow, this is so flat. I can go so much faster
Yeah, better
than
than
anywhere
hills.
else. So that's kind of weird. So I do like the track, but I will do kind of tempo on the roads or, around the neighborhood kind of thing.
Yeah. Wow. I really have to be in the mood to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go crush this track workout. I would
Yeah,
so
it
much
can.
rather just run trash miles all day long.
I know. Yeah, it is like, and I would go to tracks like when school was out,
Uh-huh.
and I knew there would be nobody else out there, and I could just kind of like do my thing.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it is like a different. I don't know. It's a different beast getting into it.
Yeah, I will say though, when you go and you feel like you've crushed a track workout and you're just
Yeah,
like totally spent after it, that is a good feeling. You're like,
yeah.
dang, I'm getting
You're
strong.
like, I'm a runner. I'm elite. Like,
Yeah.
there's something about track that makes you feel real, kind of thing.
Yeah. You're like, put me in the Olympics, coach.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, where's my sponsorship?
Yeah, exactly. Adidas, he's calling. So is the track your favorite, like speed work? Is that your favorite workout of the week?
Yeah, I like the long run though.
Mm.
I enjoy the long run. But
Hmm.
I like the speed workout because that's when I can't run with music normally, but
Hmm.
during a speed workout I can. So I'll just put on some kind of playlist and just like let
Mm.
it go. And I like that release from it kind of thing where it's like, oh, I can
Yeah.
just go run super hard, not really have to think that much about what am I, you think about it some, but you're not trying to like keep it a super easy pace or keep it a heart rate zone. It's just like, let's go, you know, push super hard. And I like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm. So even I know you said not on race day for no headphones, but even like if you're going out on a long run, no headphones for you.
Not on the long run. On the shorter runs, I will, but yeah,
Hmm.
on the long run, well, if I'm training for a race,
Hmm.
because I want my mind to get used to not having
Yeah.
anything going on. So when I was doing long runs for this, I would not run with headphones. But if I'm just going out for like just casual, like 4 or 5 mile run, I'll usually, I can't really listen to music. I'll listen to like an audiobook or a podcast or something.
Hmm. Okay. Very cool. All right. We've got some rapid fire.
Okay.
Morning run or evening run?
Morning for sure.
Solo run or group run?
Oh man, that's tough. I would say group run,
Roads or trails?
trails.
Speed work or long run?
I'm gonna say speed work.
All right.
Long runs scare me more than speed work for
They
some
are
reason.
overwhelming.
It's like when you know you have it in front of you, it's kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I know speed work's going to be over relatively quickly.
That's true. That's a good perspective. I'm going to need
Yeah.
that next time I don't want to go to the track. All right. When you're cross training, lifting or body weight workouts?
Lifting
Indoor or outdoor workouts?
for cross training
Sure.
or
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
Indoor
Juice or smoothie?
smoothie.
Coffee or matcha?
Oh, coffee.
Salad or bowl?
Tough. Salad.
Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Tacos or quesadilla?
Quesadilla all day.
An early riser or night owl?
Early riser. I'm married to a teacher, so I don't have an option.
Up before the dawn.
Yes. Which this time of year is nice. Now I can run pretty safely in the morning.
That's true. When is school over there?
Uh, there's 5 weeks left
All
officially today,
right.
or maybe four. So
Yeah,
like late
almost
May.
summer break.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and Ben, we didn't even get to chat about Culbreth Copywriting. So give us a little plug. Tell us about what you do for work and if people want to follow along or work with you, where they can find you.
Oh yeah. So I'm a content strategist and copywriter. So I help different firms develop a strategy around how to communicate and message to the people they want to work with. And then I can help them by actually writing, that's the copywriting portion of my work, what they need. So that can be website copy, case studies, kind of all across the board in terms of the written collateral that you need for kind of your marketing assets. So Pretty active on LinkedIn. That's probably my most active social channel, which maybe says a lot about me. So you can find me on LinkedIn if you search me there. And then my website is benjaminculbreth.com. So if you just Google, or if you just Google Ben Culbreth, I'll pop up one way or the other on there. So,
And we'll link it all in the show notes too,
oh
if
yeah,
if
thank
you
you.
need a copywriter. Well, Ben, this was so much fun. I could chat all day long with you about running. So thank you so much for coming on. I know you're inspiring people to like get out the door and lace up their shoes.
Yeah, get the I think I have super attainable for people, and it's a lot of fun to train towards. So, and if you've had injuries, like you can bounce back from them. So, yeah, thanks for having me. I loved it. I love talking about running, and especially coming off the race. It's like fun to kind of relive it, after you cross the finish line. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thanks, David.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Health by Haven podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give the show a 5-star rating and leave a review. It makes such a huge difference in reaching new people and spreading the joy of healthy living. I would also be so appreciative if you subscribe to the show in the listening app of your choice so you never miss an episode. Your support truly means the world to me. Have a happy, healthy day, and I'll talk to you again soon.